The Dallas Cowboys are coming in to New York week 17. Basically, a playoff game for both teams. Both teams are in the same scenario. They need to win the game, and then they need Washington to lose on Sunday night in order to get into the playoffs. Dallas has had their ups and downs, just like the Giants have, and a lot of teams have in 2020. They're undoubtedly still a very talented football team as they were billed to be coming into the season. It was pretty much them and the Eagles that everyone thought would be competing for the division title. And they found a way to actually be competing for the division title, but definitely not in the way that they thought the season would go. At the top, you can't talk about the Cowboys without the loss of Dak Prescott. But another huge part of that was all of the injuries that they had up front offensively. They came into the season completely built with a complete unit that was geared around, making Dak Prescott successful and just flooding the field, going CeeDee Lamb in the first round, just flooding the field with the weapons. Whether that's Amari Cooper, the rookie CeeDee Lamb, or Michael Gallup. There's three really good pass catchers. You add in Dalton Schultz, and then, of course, you have Zeke Elliott, the offensive line, and then Tony Pollard is an awesome change of pace back. All of that was set up for them to really just outscore teams this year with elite level of offensive talent and, play with leads, give their defense, which has been very susceptible to the run game this year. You want to get up early, get leads, and let them just pin their ears back and come after the quarterback. And, that was how the Cowboys roster was constructed, is we can let our pass rushers get after the quarterback, play with leads, get exotic, blitz, or play coverage and trust our four guys to get home because they do have really good pass rushers up front. And that was how everything was supposed to go for the Cowboys. When they got hit with all of those injuries, they hit a really tough stretch of the season, kind of like all the NFC East teams have had their stretch where everything's been horrible, and then they've had stretches where everything's been good, and it seems like they've been able to overcome the injuries. The main thing for Dallas is that it starts up front. These guys are not the elite level Dallas Cowboys offensive line, of course, that you're used to seeing. However, they have gotten a lot better as they've played more together. And as they come into week 17, the five guys up front from left to right, Brandon Knight, Connor Williams, Joe Looney, Connor McGovern, Terrence Steele, I believe this will be their fourth or their fifth straight game playing together as a five-man unit. And as they've played together more and the offense has been allowed to be called with those same five guys, you've seen that continuity. You've seen the flow. You've seen them be able to run the ball, protect Andy Dalton well enough for him to get it into the hands of his playmakers really quickly and let their natural talent kind of take over, which is a good job by McCarthy and Kellen Moore and their staff to adjust their offense throughout the season, to make sure that they're maximizing the most that they can get. Now, during their 3-game winning streak that they're riding high on coming into the Giants game, this offense has benefited greatly from turnovers, specifically early in the game. If you go to the Cincinnati game, Cincinnati fumbled their first 2 times touching the football, and that allowed Dallas to jump all over them 14-0. And then that allowed them to stay ahead of the sticks. It gave Kellen Moore the entire playbook. They ran the ball 25 times in that game for 101 yards. They were 3-0 in the turnover margin, and that also helped their defense. Just basically, the Bengals became one-dimensional. It was a combination of Ryan Finley and Brandon Allen, and they cruised to a victory in that one. But that all started with the 2 fumbles up front and let them get out to that big lead, which really helped them. Then you go to the next win in the win streak was the 49ers game, which was a crazy game because after the 2 teams, they exchanged punts, and then the 49ers fumbled on the third drive. They fumbled a punt, which gave Dallas a short field, and they go in and score a touchdown. Then the very next drive after that, Nick Mullins gets strip sacked, and then another short field for Dallas, and they go up 14-0. And then once everything settled down for the 49ers, they actually had 2 more turnovers in the game later. And then Dallas won that game 4-0 on the turnover margin. But outside of the drives where they were giving them the short fields, the 49ers moved the ball on their defense with the Shanahan run scheme and making things easy for Mullins. They played them pretty evenly. They actually outgained Dallas. They had a lot more plays run because of the short field, and they were able to move the ball and put up yards. But the turnovers were their undoing. They clawed their way back in that game. It was 24-24 late in the game. Then Dallas tacked on a field goal to make it 27-24. And then when the Niners got the ball back with over 2 minutes to go in the game, they threw a late pick. Mullins was forced to start to really actually be a quarterback and make big boy throws, and he threw a pick late in that game. And that pretty much was their undoing at that point. And then in the Philly game was probably their best game that they've played in their win streak. They still went 3-1 in turnover margin in that game, but that was the game where you couldn't say, oh, Dallas just got the turnovers early, got a big lead, and then cruised their way. What I really admired about the way they called that game is even though Philadelphia jumped on them early, got up 14-3, they didn't abandon the run. They ran the ball 34 times that game for 151 yards, and they really played tough and wisely. Michael Jacquet of the Eagles was just abused all game long, and Doug Peterson really did nothing to adjust his defense, and Andy Dalton was able to get one-on-one coverage against Michael Jacquet. And credit to the Cowboys and credit to Dalton for recognizing where to go with the football, and they really picked on Michael Jacquet all day and put the ball in the hands of these receivers and let them just go to work. And they got rid of the ball. They got the ball out of Dalton's hands really quickly. That led to explosive plays, and that's what you can't give the Cowboys in the passing game. If you want to beat this team, you're really going to have to focus on, first and foremost, taking that run game away. And you have to be able to stop that run game up front with your front seven. And every now and then you're going to obviously have to bring extra people to the party when they go double tight ends and they go heavier formations. But when they start spreading the field out and putting the weapons out there, it's imperative that you make Andy Dalton throw the ball multiple times in a drive. And you can't give him a tunnel screen that goes for 55 yards. You can't give them a busted play on a slant that they just take for, a big gain. You have to really keep everything in front of you. You definitely have to respect the talent that they have and really take away their deep shots, take away their big chunk plays in the passing game, and force Andy Dalton to drop back in situations that he has to pass because you've taken their run game away, and get after him, confuse them up front where they're definitely less good of pass blockers than they are run blockers. And it's going to be on Patrick Graham and company to really confuse them up front while protecting the back end and disguising what we're doing. Because in terms of talent level, as decimated as the Cowboys are, they were more talented than the Giants coming into this year, as we know. I mean, the Giants were picked to win 3-4 games, even when they were completely healthy. And Dallas legitimately was, supposed to compete for the division. And you're going to have to give your guys an advantage defensively up front by trying to get home creatively, by trying to disguise the blitzes that you're bringing and only end up bringing 4 or 5 while still protecting your guys in the back end against this elite group of receivers. None of that really can happen unless you handle things up front. You see here, we'll show you just a quick zone blocking scheme. Eagles go 8 in the box, Cowboys go 2 tight ends. And it's just a simple stretch run with zone blocking. You see Blake Bell on the end, number 80, does a great job helping out on Brandon Graham to help Zeke Elliott get to the edge. And then he's able to just press the line of scrimmage and then find the hole. What makes this play, though, from the Eagles' perspective is if you watch 59 and 57 as they start flowing, you'll see Looney's able to help and then work his way up to 59. But 59 does himself no favors. Instead of continuing to flow with the ball and trust that 57 has that cutback lane, he peeks into the backfield and gives Looney a chance to get his hat placement completely. The play's over at this point. The snap, he continues to flow to the hole outside of Graham. 42 does a good job to set this edge and get his hat outside, but 59's nowhere to be found. Now, Graham has to do a better job on the edge here, but he actually fights enough after getting this chip to re-anchor and try to get back into the play. And 59's nowhere to be found, and that's the difference between a huge play and a minimal gain. And then here we just show you a little bit of diversity in what the Cowboys do up front. Here they'll run power instead of zone. You'll get a down block right out here from the left tackle, Brandon Knight. And you'll see what you want to pay attention to here is first pay attention to Vinny Curry all the way over to the defensive tackle. These three guys first get completely taken care of by Dallas. Now you see they're going to slant inside and almost invite these down blocks. So you see the tight end Blake Bell again get a down block on Vinny Curry, and then Brandon Knight gets a down block on the defensive tackle. Now those guys, once they're through, at that point they're dead in the water. All three of them are dead in the water. On the backside, you do a good job here by the center Looney climbing immediately to the second level. And then you get a great reach block by Connor McGovern, who gets his head around 93 and climbs up to 59. And then off of the down block, you're going to get Connor Williams, who played a great game against Philadelphia, on the pull. And then you have 3 for 3. First, you had the three guys up front completely taken care of with excellent down blocks and a reach block on the opposite side by McGovern. And then the second level, these three are going to be taken care of by a climbing Looney to 57 after the reach block. You do a great job getting to 59. And then off of these down blocks by the tight end and then the tackle, you're going to get an excellent pull out to 49. And then Dalton Schultz has the extra man in the box, the safety here. And this is just great scheme and great execution by the Cowboys. The only thing you can see differently here that could be done is that 93 can hustle down the line, and 49, when he sees this, has to go meet that pulling guard a lot sooner instead of inviting that and waiting. 22 does a good job to set that edge there and get his hands inside and get his hat outside of the tight end. Dalton Schultz trying to set the edge, does a good job. If 49 comes and shoots that hip or even cuts that pulling guard, that can create some more traffic. But 57 and 59 do a terrible job reading this play initially and then just get completely eaten up. Great job by the Cowboys here in the run game and give Zeke a crease. And you know that Zeke Elliott knows what to do with it once he gets downhill. That's a tough ass to tackle a guy like that running full speed. Here's some more run game, another zone block. Just everything was great here again, hat on a hat. They're going to run the sneak route. You'll see they're in man coverage. So Cooper, his contribution to the run game here as he comes in motion, they see that this is man-to-man, so they know that this sneak route is going to work as he vacates that space. 22 flows with him. Again, you're going to get Looney climbing to the second level. Great job here by McGovern to go replace after Looney gets out, climbs to the second level, and does a good job by Zeke there reading that middle linebacker. And Looney does a good job just to get enough of him. And then Zeke's job is just to read his leverage and then peel off. And these guys up front for Cincinnati, nobody gets any penetration. You see 76, he at the snap against Connor Williams has hat placement by alignment and just loses it. Great reach block, and then you'll see at the end here, you'll see McGovern right off the snap. Great leverage that way right off the snap. Gets lower, gets inside, and then works his hat placement outside of 76. That's a great block there. You have to get off of those blocks. That's how you shut the run game down. Winning at the point of attack, winning your individual one-on-one matchups. Then you'll see here, this is all in the Philly game. This just showcases, this isn't a lot to unpack, but you see Andy Dalton. I don't know why the Eagles consistently gave them. This is what the Giants definitely cannot do, is to leave these talented receivers on an island, whether that's a tunnel screen like this one, or just deep down the field with slants or posts or go routes. These guys, one-on-one against Dallas's receivers, you're going to have a long day. They're all very talented. They all can get open. Andy Dalton is a veteran quarterback. These guys are a handful to deal with if you ask your corners to stay with them one-on-one. They can break tackles. They're all big. They're all fast. They can run after the catch. You're not going to affect them simply by just lining up and playing man-to-man. And the only way you're going to affect them is to shut down the run first and then try to get to the quarterback. And you'll see here, we'll just highlight real quick. We went through the offensive line. The tackles are the weak spots. They're not terrible NFL tackles, but they probably both shouldn't be starters. They're more of Cam Fleming material, third swing tackle material. And we know Cam Fleming is. He starts for us at right tackle. So imagine that level of player can get it done. You can survive with a Cam Fleming up front, but when you have two of them, it's a little bit of a problem. And you see here on their right tackle, Terrence Steele and Brandon Knight, their left tackle, both of them, better in the run game than the pass game. You'll see here Brandon Graham on the left side of your screen here is just going to beat his man. Just gets under him, swims, and then it's pretty much over for Dalton there. You're dropping 7 in that case with safeties over the top. Dalton can't get rid of it quickly, and you're allowing your pass rushers to do work and get home. The Giants not having elite level pass rushers. They don't have a Brandon Graham or a Vinny Curry or anybody off the edge of that caliber. So as we've seen all season, to generate a pass rush, you're going to have to confuse those guys up front. You're going to have to disguise what you're doing in the back end, make Dalton figure that out post-snap, show him one thing pre-snap, figure something else out post-snap, make him wait that half a beat. And then those 5 guys up front, like I said, without the elite talent, instead of just coming at them and trying to win one-on-one, you're going to have to confuse them a little bit also, make them think. But none of that can be done unless you shut down the run first. Take care of the football, don't give them short fields, shut down the run, and try to get them in as many third and longs as you can. That's pretty much every game what you're looking to do. Here you're going to see just physically again, this time it's going to be Brandon Knight just beaten. They're going to try to go play action, a little like RPO type of look off of the snap with a little deception at the snap, their motion at the snap. CeeDee Lamb, they use this seldom, which I was surprised to see. The Cowboys actually use less motion at the snap than the Giants. I didn't know that was possible because we definitely need to use more motion at the snap. But here you go. As Dalton takes it, you're just going to see this play just blown up. Vinny Curry just completely beats the left tackle Brandon Knight on the inside, which is the cardinal sin. He sets him up, and then right here, as he opens him up, what you want to do here as the offensive lineman, he does a good job to re-anchor instead of swinging that foot backwards. But he opens up here and leaves that inside for him to get his hat through. And Zeke does a poor job to help. But you can see that those tackles, both, you'll see consistently that those guys are weak links in their passing game. Here, both of them pretty much fail. On the left side here, you're going to have Terrence Steele just get bull rushed. And then on the right side, again, you're going to see from Brandon Knight giving up that inside move, probably compensating to not give up the edge and overset. You see him open up his hips early, where you see on the other side, Steele actually does a good job in a vertical set. But when you open your hips early, focus on the right side, you're going to open the gate for that inside move to get pushed past. And then on the left side here, you do a good job to stay in front, Terrence Steele, but then you just get walked back to the quarterback as you're playing way too high and letting him get up onto your pads. So you see, if you can get them in these passing situations, their tackles really struggle to hold up physically over and over again. And then this is what I was talking about earlier. This is the same kind of thing here against the 49ers, but they show that you can really get them with some twists and stunts up front, and that's a lot for them to deal with. They've gotten better at this, as I said. They've played together more and more. But you'll see here, Looney 73 and McGovern 66, along with Steele, they're going to deal with three guys at the snap. So Steele does a good job passing off inside, understanding that he has the outside rusher. But Looney and McGovern are a little bit slow to pass this off. You see Looney, as soon as he sees this Armstead swooping over top, he needs to reset. He fails to do so very late, and then Dalton's eaten up. So you're going to have to throw some of that stuff in there as well. Some blitzes and some twists and stunts, which are very hard to do if you're in 3rd and 3 instead of 3rd and 8, because those twists and stunts are susceptible to the draw play. They're susceptible to a lot of run. You can't really dial that up unless you're in an obvious passing situation. Here you're going to get the same thing. This time it's McGovern and Steele. And you'll see here Armstead, who's a really good player, which we have those on the interior of our defensive line. You'll see he does a good job selling. They're going to get three guys to the right of Looney, so that's what they're dealing with. And you see Steele is threatened on the edge by the alignment of the defensive end out here. So he oversets, and then as soon as he sees him putting his foot in the ground, and he's the re-anchor, he's late to recognize, and there's already contact, and at that point you've lost, and then Dalton is wrapped up. So there's not a lot to unpack in terms of, I'll just run the highlights again. You can see everything that we went through as I talk, but there's not a lot to unpack with the Cowboys. They want to run the ball. They obviously don't want Andy Dalton to throw constantly and being obvious passing situations all game. They're built to play with that lean on Zeke Elliott in that running game. They want to get out to an early lead. They want to be aggressive early in the game and get up, so that hides their defense and their rushing defense. They're much better equipped defensively to play against the pass and come after you after their offense builds that lead. Like I said, if you look at their roster construction, that's how they were built. They were like, okay, Dak Prescott, take another first-round wide receiver where they already had weapons. Zeke Elliott, awesome offensive line. We're going to outscore teams. We're going to get up big on teams. We're going to put points on the board. And then we're going to ask our defense not to really have to defend the whole playbook and not to have to defend the run and play action. No, we want to get up big on teams, let you pin your ears back, blitz, take chances, try to create turnovers. And that's what they've been able to do in this win streak. Their defense and their special teams both has been opportunistic, and they're playing good situational football, complementary football. Like I said, their defense and their special teams is going and getting this offense opportunities. That doesn't take away from the offense because they're capitalizing. They're putting the ball in the end zone. And that's a good job by the Dallas staff to, as they've adjusted, to the new offensive line, that these new guys you got to play, they're settling down, playing together. And they're asking Andy Dalton just to keep it simple and to get these guys the football, get these elite playmakers the football. And then when they play with the lead, once they get the lead due to the turnovers, they can really lean on that run game And regardless of how much success they have with it, which, like I said, they've run 25, 22, and 34 times in the last 3 games. And in the game that they ran 22 times, they still averaged over 4 yards a carry, which they've averaged over 4.1 in those 3 games. The game where they only ran it 22 times, they had short fields early in the game, and they really had a significant amount of snaps, significantly less amount of snaps than the 49ers in that game, so those numbers are a little bit skewed. They had a lot of short fields, and they didn't have a lot of plays in general in that game. And the 49ers put together a lot of long drives in that one and kept their offense on the field. But Dallas was able to put points up because they had 4 turnovers to San Francisco's 0. And credit to them for capitalizing on them with 6 instead of 3 consistently. And you see Andy Dalton, there's not too much he hasn't seen. He's not the greatest quarterback in the world, but he is beyond serviceable as a reserve. Probably one of the better backup quarterbacks, and I think he's proven that this year. He's smart. He takes care of the football. He's pretty much seen everything you can throw at him. But he's not immune to pressure. He's not immune to disguise. If you can get him where he has to sit back there and read the entire field rather than just simply get it out of his hands into these elite playmakers, if you let him know pre-snap and confirm it post-snap consistently, hey, this is what we're in, this is what we're doing, this is where you should go with the football. He does not have to be perfect. He's got a lot of talented pass catchers where he could just put it in the vicinity and let them do their jobs. And that is his job as a quarterback. That's not a knock on Andy Dalton. That's what they want out of him. That's what they asked Prescott to do also, get the ball to the playmakers. And he's done a good job of it, but the best way to handle him is to get him in those obvious passing downs and then confuse the 5 guys up front who, although they're playing better and they're playing well as they play more and more together, they are susceptible to twists and stunts, communication, who's coming, who's not. And then, Patrick Graham can get into those dialed up exotic looks where he's showing cover 2, rolling to cover 3, showing cover 3, rolling to cover 4, all while bringing unexpected pressure and twists and stunts, whether that's from the nickel or from the safety position, an unexpected linebacker, and dropping defenders in coverage. None of that's possible unless you start up front and shut this run game down. And that's going to be the challenge. That's going to be the number one, order of business is Zeke Elliott and those guys up front. And don't sleep on Tony Pollard as a change of pace. It's just going to be pretty simple for the Giants defensively. Is don't give up any big plays in the passing game because they're capable of those. But if you're going, you want to bend but don't break against these elite playmakers. Make them move the ball down the field through the air, taking things underneath, rally and tackle. Don't do what the Eagles did and consistently give them one-on-one. As you see here, pre-snap, you just get confirmation of one-on-one and a single high safety. I mean, CeeDee Lamb against Michael Jacquet. It's never gonna work out well. So yeah, you can't do that. You have to confuse them. You have to play deep against the big plays. But it all starts up front. All right, hope you guys got something out of this. As the Cowboys come into town, a big Week 17 matchup, basically a playoff game. Couldn't be more excited. Couldn't be more hype. I love that both teams, even, man, with such a bad, horrible division. We have something to play for. It makes it worth watching. It makes it getting hyped for. Both teams have reached this Week 17 with a boatload of adversity and injuries and things that they couldn't control. And they fought back, as Dallas is kind of where we were after the Seattle win. Just riding high, feeling great about everything. Just like the Giants were when they were on their 4-game win streak. Just feeling good, feeling like you had overcome some stuff, feeling good about the team moving forward into the next season. And I know that the Cowboys fans are also already thinking about next season. And they're just as aware. They're just as aware even if they win. They're at best going to be a 7-win football team. And, they're looking to get their guys back. And this year has pretty much morphed for them into evaluating a lot of their young guys the same way that we have and getting a lot of reps for these guys that are going to be depth pieces or possible move into starting roles for them in the future. because they're going to get Dak back. They're going to look to get some offensive linemen back and shore up their defense and make a run at it next year, where they thought that they would be doing that this year. So it's really two teams at different crossroads, where the Giants are riding this 3-game losing streak. They come in riding a three-game winning streak, but both teams really, it makes sense for them to meet up in week 17 in a win or go home scenario, because it seems like every NFC East team has had those moments where it just feels like everything is hopeless, everything is lost. We are the worst. Our roster sucks. Our luck sucks. Our injury luck, our COVID luck, all those things. But it seems like all 4 of the teams have also had those moments of hope where they've battled through those and the adversity of that. And it's all going to come to a head, except for the Eagles, who are eliminated. But they kind of had their moment last week of it all coming to a head. Let's go ahead and put the chips on the table and see what happens. We're here. There's a chance to win the division. We might as well go ahead and try to win this thing. That's how the Cowboys are feeling. That's how the Giants are feeling. And what more do you want? What more do you want as an NFC East fan? What more do you want as a Giants fan? You haven't had this in a long time, week 17 for everything. So let's go get it. Let's see what we got. Let's shut down this run game. Let's get after this quarterback. Let's disguise these coverages. Let's see what we got. I can't wait for Sunday. I can't wait to see the X's and O's matchup, but I really do believe, there's no secret. This is the Cowboys. This is the Giants. Everybody knows what's up. Everybody knows you're only going to do but so much to disguise or scheme your way through this. You got to come to play, and it's about who wants it more. And that goes for both sides of the ball. I'll break down their defense a little bit later, post it up before the game. But anyway, man, go Giants. Let's see if we can get this thing done. All right, peace.